Morning to everybody, and welcome to Timeout this morning. My name is Jack Vint, and this morning I want to start with saying I think that I owe apology because last week I asked the question, are they trying to pull the wool over our eyes, or as I put it, the whole sheep when it comes to COVID-19? And it seems that I have massively underestimated the problem. So I want to ask another question this morning. In New Zealand, they said a few years ago there were 40 million sheep. And I was wondering if they had imported all that 40 million sheep into South Africa and are now trying to pull the wool over our eyes with 40 million sheep. And of course, I'm speaking about the COVID-19 situation, as I would like to call it, the covert-19 situation, because it seems that this whole issue has now gone underground and become a secret, covert. And you and I, as an ordinary man on the street, an ordinary woman on the street, an ordinary citizen, are seemingly on a need-to-know basis. And apparently at the moment, we don't need to know. The reason given is that they don't want to create panic. Now, I think when it comes to panic, that cat has already got out of the bag weeks ago. As a matter of fact, so long ago, it's had a litter, and its litter has already had kittens. I've always said South Africans as a collective are probably one of the most resilient people in the world. We've overcome so many hardship, challenges, issues. I don't think that we can play the card of panic when it comes to South Africans. And so I don't know about you, but have you ever been in one of these apocalyptic movies, at the end of the world scenarios, when everybody almost dies? And just imagine you in a little spacecraft traveling through space, and you can visualize on the radio frantically, I'm standing there saying, in this spacecraft, shouting over the radio, this is Jack, I'm alive, is anyone out there? Can anybody hear me? I want to make contact, please speak to me. I think that's how South Africans feel, please speak to us, we promise, Jack, we will not panic. Last week, or this week I should say rather, we were so eagerly sitting in front of our TV screens, because our parole hearing was coming up. And we were hoping against hope that we would get us a lesser sentence because for good behavior and compliance and all the other things that we put forward. But alas, it seems that our case was thrown out and our sentence has not been reduced. But the good news is, apparently I hear and I read that 19,000 prisoners, real prisoners, are going to be released because there's a fear that they may contract COVID-19. Strange as that may seem. Now, I was wondering why I sometimes bother with common sense, because I'm a very common sense person. And perhaps I'm thinking, when I was at school, I should have studied another language like gibberish or hieroglyphics or some exotic language, because perhaps then I would be able to understand some of the statements that are made and the counter statements. I would be able to make sense of some of the nonsense that I hear. Now, I was thinking that if this doesn't happen as people say. Now, they said in the beginning that, 1 million South Africans could contract this virus and 500,000 could die. And God forbid they're wrong. I believe that, and I'm praying they're wrong. And I'm sure you are too. But just say it's not as severe. And say they overreacted. And in the process destroyed thousands of jobs and crashed our economy. Here's my question. Will anybody then, if they were wrong, stand up and say, guys, we overreacted, we weren't inclusive in our consultation, we didn't take enough counsel, we made a mistake? I'd like to think, well, even if we did, the issues would still be there. But it would be a nice thought. But unfortunately, South Africans, one of our weaknesses, we're not known for taking responsibility for mistakes. As a matter of fact, we get redeployed, or we deflect the question and we attack on another area. But it would be nice to think that somebody would take responsibility to apologize. Now, long ago, about 2 months ago, when we started this scenario, everybody was on board. Government was talking to business, and business was talking to education, and unions were talking to each other. And it seemed to be almost like a fairy tale of unity and compliance and excitement that we were doing something good. But that was long ago. And it seems that everybody's arguing now, and everybody's accusing each other and even taking each other to court, which is normal for South Africans, so that we can get a result. We're not talking to each other anymore. Now, so I think that, in closing, the most common sense thing to do would be to take all this wool that we've got and to knit jerseys for the poor and give them out. In that way, somehow, we can redeem ourselves as a nation. Well, I hope I made you smile this morning. My name is Jack Vint. You've been watching Time Out, and I'll catch you next Saturday. Thank you very much.